let's have a quick look to see where we are. Oh, let's go to the top. There we go. So been exploring the new workflow for LaTeX generated PDFs 2.0. It works! Hooray! That is good news. How have you find that, Vaya?
Hi everybody, it's Vaya. It's a Greek
Vaya.
name, yes.
Sorry.
And I can see another Greek person here. I think Konstantina, you may be Greek. So yes, we've been exploring the new workflow. We got the workflow from the PDF Europe Days conference that happened back in September. So we took it and started working on it. And it does actually work pretty well. Obviously for new LaTeX projects, it works very well. There are limitations because not all packages work. But there is a list of all the packages that work with this workflow. So it is quite easy to see what can be used, what is not supported yet. Obviously, the issue with legacy projects is always there, and it is quite tricky to actually take old materials and put it into this new workflow. It takes time, it takes a lot of experimenting, it takes altering things, etc. The limitations are that this only works at the moment with the NVDA screen reader, not with any other screen readers, which means that people who are using in a university Mac machines cannot actually use the NVDA screen reader to test their teaching materials. And the other limitations are, just basically time going through materials and making it to work with LaTeX and the PDF 2.0. The other big limitation is that accessibility plugin to a canvas, that's what we use as well at the University of Birmingham, is not really liking various things because I don't think that accessibility checkers in general are very competent checking successfully PDF 2.0 and anyhow. So now we are in the position where we, of course, producing more accessible LaTeX generated PDF 2.0, but checkers still throwing errors at the authors and content, the creators of those PDFs. So I contacted Ally. We are using Yuja Panorama for Canvas yesterday, and they were open to exploring that to see how they can bring checking of the PDF 2.0 into their fixes for January. So fingers crossed, we will see a rapid improvement in that space. I'm very happy to share with you the workflow as well for whoever is using LaTeX. So I might just put it in the document. So yeah, that's what we have been doing.
Yeah, that sounds very useful. Thank you. And it'd be good to share that workflow more generally. Does anyone have anything else they want to do? Okay. In which case, Konstantina, tell us about, advertise your seminar series.
Yes, which are mainly about Stack, but this one probably will cover a bit of broader things. So for people who may have Moodle in their university, they use a Stack software for assessing mathematics. So Tim Law from Open University proposed to give this seminar, accessibility. So we haven't come down with all the details yet. So that will be the second seminar in the series. And when I'll have more details, I'll probably advertise it in this community in case people find it useful. Yes. Otherwise, if you're more interested in the Stack, you can always attend the seminar series which won't cover anything more about accessibility apart from this one, but they will cover advanced topic about Stack.
Excellent.
that's
Thank you. And once we have a date, we can share that for people who'd be
Hopefully
interested.
I'll have it before Christmas. I arranged it next week that I will be on leave.
Oh, at the time of year where if something slips, that's okay, I think. Rebecca, LaTeX rendering issues always sound fun.
Yeah, this is more of a thing if there's anyone else found this, because we're talking to suppliers and things and trying to get this sorted. So we've noticed that when you use the double dollar marks delimiters in the rich text editor, it's suddenly spontaneously changed how it looks. It used to be inline, it's now display math, which is obviously not what people expected. We were given no notice of this change. Ironically, it's now doing what it should do. Like the double dollar should be display math and not inline, but the fact that they didn't tell us that change was coming is quite problematic. So if anyone else has noticed, or you go on now and check now that I've mentioned it, do feel free to drop the name of your institution in so that we can make sure Blackboard get on this quite urgently.
I missed the very beginning of what you were saying. Which tool is this with?
This is Blackboard.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So it's not any content using the math, like the actual maths editor. It's just when you do like LaTeX within your text.
Okay.
It's unhappy.
This sorry, Sheffield Hallam. We've kind of noticed the same, but this was actually flagged. They had a roadmap event a fortnight ago, a bit longer, something like that, and they did flag it there. Now I haven't seen it on any of the kind of emails and what have you they've sent out, but it was mentioned in the Blackboard roadmap event. So, as I say, a fortnight ago.
What we found is that they were adding new delimiters as well, so you didn't have to use double dollar. You could use these other ones, but they've actually changed the behavior of the existing one. Which, as far as did they mention changing the actual behavior? Because that wasn't in any of the release notes or anything.
No, it's not. It's I've literally, just while you were talking there, I've been flicking back through their kind of previous updates, and no, you're right, but they did mention it verbally at the roadmap event, so we'd kind of picked up that it was coming a little bit, but yeah, it's not in any of the emails or whatever. You're right.
Okay, that's good to know. I appreciate that information. I can make a note of that, but yeah, just still unhelpful that they didn't actually write it down anywhere.
I think in principle, the LaTeX way of getting into display math is / square brackets only. So although double dollar does work because it's tech, the LaTeX manual says that doesn't acknowledge that exists. So now that's useless information because lots of people just do double dollar because it works and it's tech. But I think there is a potential comeback on their part saying, "Oh no, no one should be using double dollar for display." But
if I may jump in here from the LaTeX project, Frank here, double dollar is the plain tech solution from 40 years ago. So I'm a little bit surprised that there's any software using double dollar to mean inline math. It is display math. The reason why LaTeX is, as we are saying, it shouldn't be used, but it should be used like a / square bracket or begin equation or those kind of environments, is that it doesn't allow layout changes if your document changed. So if your formula moves from the right side to the left side because not the formula, sorry, the label of the formula, then this is not reflected in double dollars. It is reflected if you have / square bracket as a start. And this is the reason why we do not recommend to use it. It works in LaTeX, but it is actually not fully compatible with the way LaTeX tries to manage layout and those kind of things. We also support it in the tagging approach that was mentioned earlier by Vaya. I can't. Okay, yeah, I'm great to hear this. If I may say one word on this, on what you said, it is extremely important that we get the checkers right. because it's horrible that we do good stuff and we have to fall back to 1.7 just to make the checkers happy. So this is really your part. We can't do it from our end. If the universities push back there to the checker software, that would be really helpful. Sorry for jumping in here.
That's very helpful, Frank. And actually, I think that is something that we should do that more as a wider community too. Of I think we've complained a lot about checkers. Maybe it's worth sending some email.
Yes, I mean, I hope to get to be paying more attention to that in the next semester, and I will take great pleasure in complaining about any checkers telling me I've done the wrong thing, and I will be in a position to pursue that. So,
well, if it's helpful to have a letter signed from all of us, I imagine most of us will be happy to stick names, or lots of us will be happy to stick a name to a letter. But we will come back to that next term. Lillian, do you have anything to add?
Oh, yeah, Rebecca and I have discussed the little PNGs, maths PNGs that have appeared all over our VLE sites. We're trying to kind of remove them before we roll over new sites. And because, like I say, the accessibility checkers are picking them up. There's very little we can do about it. We have had a go with using MATLAB this term for our blind student and really struggled with it. The on-ramp part of it was particularly challenging, so we had to have a human helper to make that happen. But then we have faced other lecturers insisting on blind users switching to Linux to access that, and it's like, it's hard enough for a sighted student to switch operating systems or learn a new operating system. But for a blind student whose screen reader doesn't work on another operating system, you're asking them to work blind with no feedback. And again, it means they lose their independence if they have to work with another human being. So having a bit of fun with that at the minute. But we, as part of the MATLAB approach, we ended up just converting their PDF basic syntax, basic functions reference from a kind of tabular PDF to a plain text document. So I've put that link in there if anyone finds it helpful. If they've got screen readers who want to do battle with MATLAB, have at it. So yeah, we're going to continue obviously progressing with our RStudio guidance as well for blind students.
So that all sounds very interesting and useful as always. At Moodle and accessibility. I see lots of people have added some stuff. Thank you, Josh, for your link. Yeah, there are quite a few ways of converting other maths input systems to LaTeX code, so it might be worth having a chat for that. Does anyone have anything to add to Kat or anyone else? Oscar, welcome. I think this is your first meeting. Looking to improve the accessibility of the Enrich website. I imagine lots of us from a more teaching point of view will be familiar with the Enrich website. Do you want to maybe say a couple of words about that?
Yeah, okay. Thanks for letting me join. The Enrich website has been going for nearly 25 years. It was around in the fairly early days of the web, and we've felt for a few years that we should really do some work on accessibility. We've built up to that by moving the website onto a new modern version of Drupal, doing some training with Haskell inclusion, which has been really good. This year we've been putting quite a lot of work into general accessibility things, improving the semantic markup, making sure alt tags are there, checking the button order, and I've been trying to skill up along the way to support this, leading the testing and auditing and prioritizing. So it's got to a point where a lot of the general things are done, and it's now more the how do we do these maths things where there isn't so much guidance on the web. And it's things like deciding how much information to put in alt tags when there's a mathematical figure or graph or something, how to approach that. Getting the MathML to read in a nice way on the screen reader has been quite tricky. It likes to use really short, soft A's. So I'm not sure if upgrading to MathJax 4 is going to be the answer to that, or if we need to tweak our markup. And I work on the games. I specialize in HTML5 games. Some of those can be quite complex with grid layouts and quite a lot going on. So there will be some things that I think we'd have to say we can't do. We can't make fully accessible. But there are a lot of things that we can do. We can improve keyboard navigation, contrast. So yeah, thanks for letting me join. I think I can learn a lot from being in this group.
Well, welcome. Yeah, one of the things I've not added is I'm going to try and find some time to make the guidance on our website, particularly for getting started, a bit clearer, which will be helpful. So it might be worth having a look at that, let's say in the new year, and that might actually make me do it. Cool. Does anyone have anything else to? Okay. Then James, starting out, working on understanding current practice. Yep, that is actually, I think, a first step that's very important that lots of people skip. It is always good to know where you're starting from. Yeah. Anything to? Does anyone have any? Okay. Yeah.
I was going to suggest, Kat, I noticed that you've kind of said you're in a similar position. I didn't know if you wanted to kind of, I'm speaking to a room full of learning technologists. I'm sure it'll be no surprise that we've been kind of banging our heads against a wall trying to get academics to tell us what's going on, reply to our emails, interact in any way, shape or form. But if you're in a similar kind of place, Catherine, I didn't know if it was worth hooking up and kind of seeing what you've done that's worked, what we've done that haven't, and what have you, and looking at ways of kind of doing that survey. And
definitely, I'd be up for that. I mean, yeah, I work as a learning technologist and my background is more humanities, so I'm sort of bringing very like GCSE level maths to test with. So yeah, happy to share what's worked for us and find out more of what's worked for you guys as well.
Awesome. I'll stick my email on the thing and we can talk outside.
Cool, sounds good. Thank you.
So I'm going to slightly skip over you because you have you can have some more time at the end, the second half of the meeting, if that's okay. And then Donald's looking at resources on tagged PDFs and converting things on Canvas. Anything else to? How's that going for tagged PDFs? I think there was some stuff. Did I see somebody else working on tagged PDFs?
Yes, I saw there were some links in the Google Doc. Thanks to the people who posted those.
Questions a bit burnt out. Yeah. Aren't we all? Yeah, I think we could all do with Christmas, or at least a break. Antonio is new to LaTeX, but trying to support the faculty. Is HTML the way to go? Okay, I'm going to take this as a slight opportunity to plug a workshop that will hopefully be held next year. It has been on the mailing list, but we are hoping to run a workshop in Edinburgh in June, July next year, talking about HTML content in particular. Both from an accessibility point of view, but also a kind of pedagogical what other functionality you can get from HTML that might be useful to people. So more information with that will come out once date's been set and things. Anyone got anything else to talk about there? Okay. David, Quarto, sticking on this HTML theme. How are your training workshop notes going, templates?
I have just finished sharing, well, not quite. Well, some people have been shared with new templates for basically people using new courses and updating notes from either old Markdown things or LaTeX things, who want to move into HTML output stuff, and started to deal with emails of people saying, how does this work? How does this work? How do I do this? Once I've shared it with more widely and people want to use it more, hopefully, then I'll probably not want to deal with emails and just organize some meetings and stuff like that. Looking to find out the right way to share it outside the university as well. Some things I can and some things I need to check first as to what they want me to do with them.
Enough. That sounds very positive. I think there might be some time also maybe in the new year of setting up maybe a separate, slightly different meeting, just talking about Quarto and being a bit more practical. I think lots of people have expressed a kind of desire to do some more hands-on workshops. So yeah, if we can do something there, that would be good. I can see lots of people are interested in the box. There we go. Frank, we're back to LaTeX tagging and Beamer. Yes. Anything you want to add to things you've already said there? Or?
Let me just get onto it. Yeah, I don't know. I've forgotten whether we talked about the Beamer replacement stuff last time in this forum. I have so many things going on. I can't really remember. But point is, this is really now already working very nicely, meaning that a lot of people are able to get their lecture notes in LaTeX. It's not as fully workable with all the nuances that Beamer had over the years, but so the layouts are a little bit more basic, etc. But I think there is good progress and people using it productively already, which I think is a good thing to have. The other thing that I was mentioning in the notes is that and this was said earlier, we are, of course, not on the full LaTeX universe. We have about 600, 700 packages working with the new tagging and not 5,000. But next year, we are going to focus on providing generalized interfaces for class design so that journals and so on will also be able to more easily join automatic tagging from LaTeX. And as I said earlier in this forum, we believe that only through automation we will be able to get a really good experience, because otherwise people are not going to do it. And so far, I think we can say we managed to actually make it work, restricted so in parts, but it works. And this is, I think, a great achievement of 25 for us.
I think lots of us would agree that's a massive achievement. So yes, thank you. Does anyone else have anything else to add?
Yeah, maybe one more thing. As I said earlier, it's extremely important that we get the industry behind us, and there is a good chance that Firefox is soon able to read our PDF2 tagged versions automatically, which will be a huge step forward. But again, I think forums like you guys have a good chance to push. If we come from the LaTeX project ourselves, that doesn't help. But if sort of universities are pushing Chrome, Firefox, the vendors of the checkers, we can actually make a difference, I think.
I very much agree, and I think we should be doing more of that. So yes, thank you for prompting us to do that. Josh, we're back to Quarto. Yay.
So the Quarto stuff sort of just bubbling on. I've done some sort of workshops in the past. I'm trying to sort of formalize it, make it a bit more structured, and actually not just make it up as I go along. And I can definitely share that some sort of slides. One thing I'd like to do is maybe explore sort of short form content of it. I know it's very popular, but just to sell it as an idea, especially around slides, I think could be quite nice for people sort of wanting to dip in. If you're doing a PhD, catch people early, try and get them sort of interested in accessible notes for a start. But and also this route. So but a lot of what I've been doing is actually just battling the general accessibility fight around like just inaccessible templates, inaccessible practices, bad link practices, just the general things that's not related to maths. But it's all part of the same battle. So I'm trying to fight both.
Excellent, thank you. Thank you, and that sounds interesting as a kind of marketing campaign for Quarto. So yes, that sounds exciting. Faye also talking about Quarto. I might, unless so we all seem to be at lots of point where we're sharing information about Quarto, which is interesting. We're all kind of at a similar point. Drew, nothing really to report. Cool. Daniel's been playing with new maths tracks updates to Blackboard, which we were talking a bit earlier. So there's another one for you, Rebecca, someone else to add to your Lancaster, noticing the same things. And then Vincenzo, waiting eagerly for the LaTeX ML 0.9 to be released. Fair enough. Do you have sorry, I ran through the last couple there. Does anyone have anything else to add to those last couple of entrances? Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Cordelia. It took me a second to turn everything to my camera and mic on. There's
fine.
a bit of discussion in the chat about the legal accessibility requirement, and I feel like this is often misunderstood, and I hope it's not me who's misunderstood it. The requirement is that material that we make available is available in an accessible format, meaning all the students can access it. If we have our material in an HTML format that students can access, we can also just put out a PDF of the same material. It's not the case that every instance of everything that we put out has to be accessible. That was easier to say than to type.
That's how I understand the requirement. Yes, hopefully there's not mass misunderstanding. Cool. Anybody got anything else before we move on to Matt showing us some stuff he's done? Okay, in which case I'm going to hand over to Vincenzo.
Yeah, sorry, I'm realizing this is more of a point about what we do with these meetings, that we keep hearing the same issues over and over and over, apparently. I mean, especially these HTML problems with VLEs. So maybe we should sort of think about, I don't know, I would suggest using your website, the JISC Accessible Maths website, to have an FAQs, some FAQs about specific problems. Because, for example, these JavaScript problems that people have with VLEs are trivial to solve if you use Scorn. And right now, you can make Scorn packages with Matthew's software that he's going to demo in a moment with BookML. But it's very easy to produce Scorn packages, for example. So maybe I'm going to insist on Christian, push on Christian to add Scorn support to Chiron, so that can happen. And that's one thing. And yeah, sorry, I'm just really realizing that there are many things that keep getting repeated because new people come in, and they don't know about it. They don't know that there are solutions. Yeah, just that.
And that's on my when I was saying earlier I wanted to redo the website a bit over the break. That's one of the reasons I want to do it. I think there are lots of new people, which is great, but yeah, we are ending up repeating our conversations. So yeah, if actually that would be helpful. If people have maybe I'll add something, well, Matt's speaking at the bottom of this document, but if people have ideas for FAQs or things they think should be updated, please do add them to the bottom of the sheet, or let me know somehow. Okay, so yes, unless anyone has anything else, I will let Matt demonstrate some of the stuff he's been doing.
Hi everyone, hopefully you can hear me. Give me a random, thanks Cordelia. I was called into the office today, so I'm presenting from a more low-powered laptop. So I've prepared some slides in case things crash, so I can at least show you things. But hopefully, after I go through some of these slides, I can show you some stuff running for real. While I get that set up, I am the Accessible Solutions Architect at our University IT department at the University of Southampton. And I'm going to show you a few slides. Hopefully you can see a few slides now. And I wanted to give you a bit of rapidly pressing the button, hoping my slides will move. Excellent. A bit of context for who I am and what I'm doing, because I'm a bit of an outsider. I'm not a mathematician at all. I'm just a guy, an accessibility guy, trying to make tools to help us do some better workflows. I'm just going to show you a few things I've been working on over this year in chronological order, so that then you can see where I've been and how I've got to where I am now, and why I'm showing you what I'm showing you. So simple things like CVD image tester. So right now on screen, we've got a photo of some cooked mince in trichromatic view, but with the other types of color vision deficiency, particularly a protanopia or deuteranopia, color vision deficiency affecting 8% of men, something like that. It can be harder to tell when your food is cooked. I think this is a really nice example. So tools where you could just upload the image, check it out. This is a video, hopefully it will play for you, of a bookmarklet that I made for keyboard navigation testing, which shows extra focus indicators on what you're on and lists out what the elements are, their labels, ARIA attributes, and so on. Really useful for particularly demonstrating to vendors the problems with their tools. This is something came up a couple of weeks ago. A student who has severe wrist pain didn't want to have a note taker and wanted to take the transcripts from our Panopto lecture capture system and use them to help capture notes. But our Panopto doesn't allow captions to be downloaded. So I made a bookmarklet that you can drag to your bookmarks bar. I've also got a non-dragging required method since he has wrist pain. But then click the button, get the text or the transcript without all of that ugly timing stuff. And then he didn't ask for it, but I added in my web page a prompt so you could take that transcript, drop it into Copilot, and get Copilot to create a nicely formatted version of that transcript to make it more readable. And Ben, I'll give you a link at the end. So that's a bit of a demo there. And throughout the year, I've been working on AI tools. I'm getting quite a bit further now. So this is an example of a image describer. There are many image describers out there. Arizona State University is probably the most well-known and popular. Obviously, the benefit is how much context you can add. So with this one, I've added little drop downs, like this is engineering, it's about thermofluids, it's undergraduate year one, got the module code, any particular extras, generate the description. It'll then generate, as you would expect, a title or caption, 2-sentence of alt text, and then a nicely written long description with formatted text, so that for those that need long description, you've got it, and obviously with human in the loop to adjust and so on. But over the time, I learned something. So this is where we start to get a bit more relevant. While I was working on some of those AI tools, found LLMs are pretty cool at making graphs in chart.js format. So chart.js, on the left, we've got some JSON. If you don't know what JSON is, think of it like a fancy CSV file. It describes the data that builds up a graph, and then you can then render it. And that's on the right is my first rendering of it, which is very plain. I wanted to introduce a color vision deficiency friendly version. I'm aware of lots of color vision deficiency friendly palettes. Most well known are from Pooltoll and Okabe and Ito. But they have, you get a set of 5 to 9 colors, but we would always have to have a background color with sufficient contrast. So I made a tool called Contrast Companion. You can drop in a set of color codes and it will find a color with sufficient contrast to all of them. So then I could introduce color vision deficiency friendly graph, both with pattern fill, color vision deficiency friendly palette, and a background which has sufficient contrast to all of them. So we can pass the 3:1 contrast ratio rule for background to the colors. And then I was thinking, yeah, but we need to be able to describe these graphs. Hopefully, some of you will be aware of Hugh Alexander's Described website. It's got 100+ explanations of how to describe different types of image. A lot of STEM-related imagery is in there. So for a long description, you need the structure, summary or overview, a list of data points, a data table. I thought, we've got all of this in the chart.js. We know it's a bar chart. We know the title. We know the x-axis and its labels and values. Same for the y-axis. So I've made a algorithmic graph generator based on chart.js. So you can click show description, and then it will build out algorithmically, not using AI. It just runs on your computer. A short description, detailed description starting with the construction, insights from the data like lowest, highest, median, distribution, list of data points, and an accessible data table. And on my page, I've now building out a graph builder tool so that you can build it without having to type out chart.js syntax to create. But this is just a demo of it kind of all rolling into one. On my AI tool using OpenRouter, I'm just asking it, write me a short article about the impact of inflation on the modern economy. We'll first render the output in Markdown and then format it. Here I've got a mermaid diagram. I've also done algorithmic descriptions of mermaid. This is a timeline. Next, we've got a graph, different types of line style. So we're not relying on color alone, but we do have a CVD-friendly palette, algorithmically generated descriptions. And if I just pop out and go to Chrome, here I have, here's an example. So what's really nice is on this page, I've got a markdown editor just so that I can test the results of the markdown. But if I were to just fiddle with this graph and say I'm going to make this last value much lower, and then re-render it, it now goes down to there, so that will change the description. So it's probably going to say, oh, look, overall decrease, because I've just massively reduced that. So that was something that I wanted to talk about, but what you're probably more interested in, other than graphs, is, if I go to the next slide, is about STEM. So around the summer, we had some interns from helping us with accessibility, our accessibility allies, now in the 3rd year of running this project. They work with module leads to remediate module content. And we had your friend Luke Searle was talking them through LaTeX and using Pandoc to convert to more accessible outputs. And I came across Pandoc WASM. It's a WebAssembly build of Pandoc, which theoretically allows you to convert LaTeX to other formats just in your browser without needing to run something in the command line. So I started this in July, and this is a work in progress. I'm going to give you a video demo, and then I'm going to try and give you a quick overview of more of the detail. So got your typical light and dark mode, content, LaTeX on the left with syntax highlighting, HTML preview on the right. Click export, or you can export to SCORM, get an HTML version, a dynamically generated table of contents based on the heading structure, a kind of distraction-free mode, a bit like Immersive Reader, but then be able to change the font size, blah, 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 the usuals, line height, particularly important for dyslexic readers. And then with MathJax, so you've got your click to zoom and your Braille and screen reader compatibility. I shared that after a month I got this far, and shared it on JISC accessibility community. Didn't get much feedback. Then shared it on the JISC mailing list. Then I got a lot of feedback. Everyone telling me why it was wrong, why it was broken. So if I just fire up the browser here. So one of the first things people told me is you need independent scroll bars because LaTeX is going to be shorter than the output. So luckily that was easy to add. Obviously I'm not a mathematician, just like Kim. I got my GCSE, got a B, which I was amazed at, and then see you later. Then Cordelia sent me her accelerated calculus paper, 200 kilobytes of LaTeX, which I have slowly working through, finding all of the bugs and fixing. Just to show you a few things I've been working on lately. I think this is the one that I thought would be of most interest. I've got a chunking mechanism based on sections. So I was just learning. I was like, wow, you can make your own like custom macros for how you build out LaTeX. Wow, that's cool, isn't it? But well, how do you deal with that? And then, oh yeah, sometimes you have numbering and sometimes you don't. Appreciate this must sound like a total ignoramus, but maybe sometimes it's nice to hear it from someone bright-eyed and bushy-tailed going, wow. This wasn't the one that I wanted, or maybe it was. You could do strike-throughs. There's things for coloring and so on. So now if I press export, we should then get a version of that, which will open. And it took some time. Now, the MathJax just takes a moment to render, which I'm going to have to work out with Cordelia's 200 kilobyte accelerated calculus. It can take like up to a minute for, I think there's 2,000 equations in your example that you gave me, Cordelia. So I need to work out to probably more progressive enhancement for MathJax, like maybe not try to render all 2,000 in the thing at the same time. And yeah, I would like to move to MathJax 4. I just started, I think about 2 weeks before MathJax 4 came out, totally the wrong time, but at least I figure 3.3.2, well, I think that's the last version of 3, at least that's, the documentation is stable, and LLMs certainly know that better than they know MathJax 4. But I've got things with Gather and Align and so on working with the numbering, without the numbering. It's like with the numbering is, or without, is you have an asterisk at the end, and to change that. So slowly getting there. If I go back to my slides, what I'm just a few notes. I've refactored this maybe 6 times now, but I'm really getting it more modular and compartmentalized, so it's actually easier to support and sustain. What I'm really interested in is anyone can give me some good examples of latex to test with. Most of what I'm using here is generated by LLMs. In fact, everything's generated by LLMs. I couldn't make this myself. And so hopefully this is going to kick off in a moment. Yes, here we are. So the math student told me no one writes maths like this. So, well, I guess 1, I'm looking for something that looks more legitimate, and 2, that looks that will help me to tease out some of the bugs and things that need to be fixed, is what I'm particularly interested in. And maybe I said something else. Oh, yes, I was going to demo, which I've managed to do without it crashing. So that's that. Next, I'm going to go to my last point. I mean, tons of handwritten math solution sheets and so on. So MathPix is the main way to handle this. I don't like their program that much, and so I'm trying using their API, but with the API, you just get the key. You need to build your own thing. So I've got, this is a quick demo, then I'll demo a bit more detail. Submit your maths, get your outputs, preview, reuse, and so on. Here I've got a document, because this is a video, I'm using something that is easy to share. I'll show you something internal that's more impressive to look at later. But handwritten, PDF, image, and camera control is what I'm looking at. Oh, and seeing Vincenzi mentioning TixEd. Do you know there is a TixEd WASM? Someone's compiled TixEd to WebAssembly. So once I feel more confident with the compatibility of LaTeX there, I'll do that. And sorry, I'm crossing the streams, talking about 2 things. Going back to Pandoc WASM, what my build is aiming to do is having something more that what you would upload into a VLE, that kind of chunked content. Not entire textbooks I'm thinking is not the ideal output, but something that a learning designer would say is a nice discrete piece of learning content, rather than your 200 kilobyte LaTeX textbook. Well, I think that was only 40 pages of your accelerated calculus. So going back to MathPix, just to show you some things I've done more recently. What I'm building out here is ultimately going to be a tool for our learning technologists and learning designers. We've got AI, Markdown, graphs, image describer, then anything else that I add as I think of it. So now I'm going to upload a PDF. It is a solution sheet for some first year maths. If I do this, these are all the options that you get when you use the API. What I found, which they did not document, and there's lots of things that MathPix don't document, is if you use the EU endpoint, you can't get PDF with LaTeX rendering. They only support that on the American endpoint. And I think if you use their actual software, it all goes through the American endpoint. You can't choose to put it through the European endpoint. But if I select all of those options with their defaults and download the results, I'll just be telling you what I had been adding recently. One is it can give you a confidence rating, and it can provide ways of visualizing that confidence rating across your original document. I think they do this quite nicely in the actual program, but it's more cost effective to use the API. So once this shouldn't take too much longer, I can show you something that I've done for visualizing confidence. So if I go to the confidence tab here, let's just make this full screen, go to the next page. There's lots of truth tables in here. Is if I select one of these, it will give me confidence ratings and tells me, gives me a sample for latex. And because I want this to be very accessible, I had to create a keyboard accessible toggle tip. So if I tag through here and then press enter, I can, this is all keyboard navigable. And maybe I want to have multiple open at the same time, so I can have multiple toggle tips open. I think the MathPix version, it relies on you hovering over. That's the last thing that I'll show before I get to my concluding slide, other than to say that I've set this up that you can drop in an API key. So this is the URL. If you want to have a play, we have an API key. If you want to give me any feedback, I will be very happy to receive it. And oh yes, the other thing is MathPix. They have MathPix Markdown. And so what I'm working on next is, this is the MathPix Markdown. This is the preview. And so I've got I can compare the original PDF with the MathPix, or I can compare the Markdown, the rendered preview, and the PDF. Is I want to add in live editing, so I could edit that, save it out, review the preview if I wanted to double check and improve. And then I'm going to add in an AI in enhance button, try to then send the MathPix result, the original PDF, to an AI and get the AI to see if it could raise the confidence or the accuracy from so I get roughly 80%, I'd say, on more complex stuff, to take it up to 95% before the final human testing. So my last things from there is really interested to hear anyone else developing with MathPix, because I found their support is really unfair. I keep finding things that don't work, and then they stop replying to me. They say that chemistry notation smiles should work. I sent them tons of debug information. Now they haven't replied. So I'm imagining that it doesn't work on the EU endpoint, but they won't tell me. And yeah, that was everything. Hope I didn't take up too much time, but it's always more time than you expect. Back to you, Cordelia.
Well, thank you for that, Rick. That was very, very exactly. That's everyone's saying. It's amazing. It is amazing. Lots there and lots for us to go and play with, and probably tell you things that still don't work.
Yes, it's a journey, like everything in accessibility. And I mean, I just if I wouldn't have started it, the Pandoc thing, if I'd have known what I was getting myself into. But now that I've started it, I feel I ought to try to see it through as far as I can.
I think that's probably why lots of us are here. Vincenzo.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to make a negative comment, if you don't mind, which is about. I mean, it's about what I was saying about Pandoc and TICT. So that I would just still remind people that you also want to be able to take all of your existing documents, all your legacy documents, and the stuff that people write today, and somehow work with that. So the limitation of using Pandoc is that you're always going to have to adjust your documents heavily to make them work with Pandoc. So that's so that's not going to cover all the possible uses that all the possible needs that people have with LaTeX. And certainly, if you want to get to a point where your entire staff, all of your mathematics, especially the people in maths, all of them using, creating accessible material, I don't think the Pandoc is the way to go. Right, you need to go deeper. You need to use the new tagging project, LaTeX ML, Kaiwan, or other things like that that are more flexible. Yeah, sorry about that, because it's a negative thing to say, sort of. But yeah, there is this consideration that I think is also important of just how do you get everybody on board? How do you get something that works for them? And that's really hard. So yeah.
I think that's a very good point. I think another point I'll just add on to that before Norman is it's also important we have a range of tools for people using different amounts of maths. And so there are people here who, I will go and teach a 3rd year maths course, and my accessibility needs are not the same as somebody teaching a social science introduction to statistics course. That there's we need a range of tools across all of that too. Norman.
I get the impression that Pandoc is targeted. It was aimed to be an everything to everything converter, and that means it's tremendously clever. But there are some definite trade-offs as a result of that, and so it might be that what we need here is not quite an everything to everything to everything converter, but a subset to subset thing, and hence the trade-off might be in a different place. So I'm sort of I note Matthew's point that he started in Pandoc, so he's going to see it through. But I think that I have a strong impression that Pandoc does run out of steam fairly quickly, for good reasons.
David?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as MathJax in a way. I mean, for new content, if you know you're working to subset, it's fine. I put a link earlier when Matthew was talking about real examples to the archive preprint server. I mean, if you use the LaTeX tagging project, which is using the full LaTeX, we also can't. Every now and then I take the last, just force myself to take the last couple of submissions to archive, and they tend to fail with us as well. I mean, people do all. You show some macros, which were like 1 line each. People write 1,000 lines of customization at the beginning of their document and then wonder why it breaks stuff. But it's if you want to try a real example by a real unknown person, just go to archive, take the last real math submission, and just see what happens. It's depressingly instructional. It will fail almost certainly, but it is possible. We have a few examples on LaTeX project of real archive documents, but they don't all, and that's a long-term aim for us to take a large subset of the archive, which is like 2 million documents. It's a big test, but if we can do 70% of those, we'll be quite happy, but we can't at the moment.
I think at that point it's useful to cycle back to Cordelia's earlier point that there's multiple constituencies being addressed here, and that if something fails with bleeding edge maths with produced by someone who feels uninhibited about adding macros, then that's a thing, but it might be not much of a practical problem in the context here. So I think. That said, I think that there will be plenty of folk who are fairly uninhibited about writing their upper level maths courses and the macros they require. So I think that there's something of a point to be made that it's not necessarily a killing problem that the latest and greatest from archive doesn't work, but it's I think that it's still very important to support the full range of things, because the gap between bleeding edge maths and upper level maths is not necessarily a big one. So I'm not actually disagreeing with anybody here. I'm not sure why I'm speaking.
You're clarifying, it's always useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also often we're trying to find a golden bullet, and actually there's never going to be in any accessibility or for any one problem, there is not one solution. There we go. Right, we have already run over slightly. Does anyone have anything else they want to bring up and discuss? Okay. In which case, I hope you all have a nice chance to have a bit of a break sometime soon. And Matt, sorry, do you have something else?
Oh, it's just that at the last meeting, there was some conversation about, oh, we need to tell Wiris some things that are on our minds. And I've set up a meeting with Cordelia, myself, and Wiris. So if there's anything, hopefully to bring them to a future meeting. So if there's anything that is on your mind that you would like Wiris to address, then I guess let Cordelia know so that then she can say to the Wiris people that we're going to meet, yeah, we wondered if you could come and so we can quiz you about this, that, and the other. I thought that would just be worth, since we're meeting in early January, I'm not sure that we have another meeting before then. So that's kind of math type, that kind of thing. So anything that you'd like to give them a heads up that you'd like to talk to them about, we can then bring that up to them. They're up for meeting, but they wanted to have a chat before meeting the wider group.
Yes, thank you. I'd forgotten about that. That was good advertising. David, do you have something?
No, sorry.
Sorry, no, fair enough. Okay. But yeah, feel free to drop me a line. I might put something on the mailing list about that because that's a good thing to remember to do. Otherwise, yeah, hope you all have a chance to have a break. Maybe have some accessibility Christmas fun, courtesy of Josh. That looks fun. And yes, we'll have a new meeting in January. So looking forward to seeing you all there. Yeah. Have a nice rest of 2025. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.